everybody. Welcome to Walking with J.Beau, an almost daily walking vlog as we walk past the recreational cannabis dispensary. Should call themselves Weed Heads Are Us, but they won't. But anyway, I'm not passing judgment on anybody that smokes weed. It's legal in Maine, but it's not for me. I don't like it. I've never liked it. I'm never going to like it. So, I'm gonna walk this evening. I haven't really decided what route I want to take. I'll probably end up doing my 6-miler or close to it. It's overcast tonight. It's not cold. It's not warm either. So I'm wearing a knit cap and my neck guard, so I don't have a cold breeze on my neck, which I don't like. I'm also wearing my gloves. And I've got a few interesting things to talk about this evening. I'll just start off by mentioning something about a new firearm that we got. The Auto Ordnance Thompson Fight Trump 45, which is a 1911 A1 Government 80 series. Internals, which means it does have the safety on the slide, the firing pin safety. So you cannot fire it by smacking against the hammer unless you're pulling the trigger too. Very good for safety purposes. Now with that firearm, which is a really good one by the way, the bushing was very tight in the rail, which made for great difficulty cleaning the firearm, getting it apart. But what I did was I took it apart and I physically just worked the bushing without any oil, so it would forcibly break it in, which it did, which simulates taking it apart a few times for cleaning. So that part broke in just fine. Now everything's nice with it. Not that it wasn't nice before, it was just difficult to disassemble because that part, the bushing, fit in there very tightly. Now it doesn't. So anyway, long story short, basically you have to be patient with new firearms. They do have a break-in period, regardless of the quality of it. And the fact that when you have a new firearm and everything is tight and difficult, it is actually good because it has tighter tolerances. And as the firearm ages, it will be just perfect. So, in other news, I was asked by my younger brother, what do I want for Christmas for a firearm? So to me, the most obvious choice was the Rossi RS-22 firearm, which by the way had to stay under $300. So I went with the Rossi RS-22 WD model, which just simply means that it has a wood stock. So the RS-22, I own one that I bought 3 years ago, I think. Paid $119 for it. I have shot the living hell out of that firearm. Every weekend I shoot that thing. It is one of the most reliable, accurate firearms I have ever had. I cannot tell you enough good things about it on why you should own one as well. You can get them at Christmas time on sale for $99. So bookmark that if you want to get a firearm for a family member for a gift that they absolutely will love. Because a lot of times people give gifts and, you know, the gesture is nice and everything, and they end up not really using it. But I guarantee you they will use the Rossi RS-22. As you know, this channel is not sponsored, so I am not monetized either. I get no financial gain or sponsor gain whatsoever by promoting Rossi. I'm just telling you the firearm is great. So anyway, that being said, it's a great gift to give somebody. It also helps them on their way, if they're new to firearms, to actually having something that's reliable and will hit what they're aiming at to make it fun. And I've run so many different brands of ammo through that thing. And I'm looking forward to the wood stock version, which will be a nice firearm. It's the same firearm, it just has a wood stock. So you can get the wood stock RS-22s for about 180 to 200, and the polymer stock ones for about 120, sometimes less. And they're fantastic firearms. So I'm going to take my flashlight out of my pocket because they still have not replaced that that street light up here. Still. I mean, come on already. So anyways, we are heading on up the road here. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is really funny, I thought. It's about the Vatican and the Pope. Pope Francis, who I have mentioned before. I'll flip the camera around once I'm past this dark area. It's a little different at night. But the damn Pope, and I really hate to say it that way, but I do feel he is a false Pope. He's a woke Pope. I don't want woke popes. I want biblical popes. So, I've got my flashlight here. I don't see any eyeballs looking back at us tonight. Sometimes we see deer out in the field here with eyeballs looking back at us. So anyway, this false Pope, Pope Francis, is pushing this ridiculous woke politics with immigrants and immigration. And per typical with a lot of these people, they are out of touch. He says you cannot refuse shelter to immigrants. That is something ungodly. In other words, something Jesus wouldn't do, which is true. But here's the problem. The problem is these immigrants are being let in illegally as part of an agenda, and it is not the same as just taking in all immigrants. So what happened is the government of Italy is unloading immigrants on the doorstep of the Vatican. And if you're not familiar with the Vatican, while they are in Italy, they are their own sovereign nation. A lot of people seem to forget, as we look at the apples up in the tree, that the Vatican is try to shake some of these apples out of the tree. There's a couple. And I'm trying to shake the apples out of the tree like I did a few of them, because a lot of times I seen a porcupine sitting underneath that apple tree eating apples. So these poor little animals are not going to have much eats over the winter. So I just wanted to shake some apples out, which I just did. So I did my good deed. But anyway, the country of Italy, with the populist president of Italy currently, they have been shipping immigrants to the Vatican, since the Vatican says that it is wrong to refuse immigrants. We'll see how the Pope likes that, and if the Pope will actually take the immigrants in. So obviously it was the populists in Italy challenging the Vatican, who was criticizing Italy for not wanting to take in immigrants. And we should not have a woke Pope. Pope Francis should shut his friggin' cake hole. And I'm a Catholic, I guess I'm allowed to say that. I haven't seen anything very much holy from this Pope. This Pope supports transgender ideology, gender ideology, and takes every far left extremist stance. And not surprisingly, the Pope comes out of socialist Argentina, which is also being stripped down by populist Javier Milei, who won his election, because the people there are tired of the BS as well. And because of that, I want to congratulate El Presidente Javier Milei of Argentina, because for the first time in decades, they're starting to be fiscally responsible. He has cut thousands of government jobs. He has cut thousands of woke policies with regard to regulations, especially. He has cut thousands of regulations in Argentina. And because of that, they have been more fiscally responsible, and they are making a dent in inflation. Stocks are booming, which is going to benefit the public. Through lower prices and lower cost of living, which ends up having lower rent, lower all kinds of things, because of regulatory cuts. So this is an amazing thing we should cherish. And a lot of their policies, Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk are going to implement in the government here when Trump is sworn in. So that leads me to my next topic, Elon Musk. Elon Musk is being made public enemy number one by the left globally because he is supporting Trump. He is supporting populism. And ever since he has purchased X, a lot of governments around the world are angry with him because he won't agree to censor to their countries. The current buffoon from Britain, Prime Minister Starmer, who is a socialist, and unfortunately for the great people of the United Kingdom, he is going to run Britain, Ireland, and whatever else in the UK into the ground. And my condolences to the people of England. Your country is fixable, but it is in a bad spot right now. So anyway, this Starmer, who wants Elon Musk to censor British citizens, has encouraged the government to, and this actually happened, they're actually going to do it, it looks like, that they are going to summon Elon Musk for a legal prosecution for allowing the riots in Ireland and the UK to happen. They're going to blame Elon Musk because they won't blame themselves for their really terrible, piss-poor immigration policies that the entire country is pissed at. So they're going to turn around and say it's Elon Musk's fault because he wasn't silenced. Even though the immigration problems are discussed on other platforms and also other media formats, they're going to single out Elon Musk, which just simply means as soon as Elon Musk ever goes to the UK, he will be detained at the airport as soon as he lands. They will take his phone and his property, they will arrest him, and they think this is a good thing. Elon Musk, who has been having the close ear of President Trump, President-elect, soon to be President Trump again, Elon Musk responded by saying that Starmer should be prosecuted for the censorship and legal threatening of American citizens. That is a perfect American response. That is a perfect response from Elon Musk. In other words, we're going to summons you, Mr. Starmer, for being the baddie, as the British like to call the bad guys, the baddie. And, oh, look at this. We got some Christmas lights that are animated. Isn't that cool? Look at that. Well, that's pretty awesome. So anyways, as I was saying, Elon Musk was like, well, two can play at that game, tough guy. And there you have it. Go threatening American citizens like that. I think President Trump ought to look what our trade relations with the UK is and tell Starmer to go stuff it, and if he doesn't, then they're going to get tariffed and they're going to get hurt financially for their stupidity. American citizens have free speech, we have liberty and freedom, and no friggin' crazy Brit socialist is going to tell us what to do. They tried that twice before and they lost both times. the first Revolutionary War, where we became America. And then we had to fight the Brits again a few years later because they couldn't take no for an answer. And so, Mr. Starmer, bring it. The American people will fight Britain again and win again. So, that's my Elon Musk news for this evening. Also, Elon Musk has made it clear that he does not influence the president in any way, shape, or form. They are just friends, and they're becoming close friends. The president's decisions are 100% his, Elon Musk said in a statement. And most of the people that Trump nominates, he did not even know that was going to happen. So, in other words, the media has turned into a gossip, National Enquirer rag that I myself am done with, and I don't want to pay attention to. Which leads me to my next topic. If you are a leftist, this is probably going to bother you, so I'll give you the opportunity to leave my channel now and beat feet. All right, if you're still here, that's good. I gave you equal opportunity. I afforded you equity to leave now if you wanted to. Okay, if you're still here, well, then you're going to be bludgeoned with my wares. All right, I am going to flip the camera around. There we go. Hi, everybody. Hi, all. I just want to... Oops, sorry about rock and roll there. All right, there we go. So, hi, everybody. It's J.Beau here. So, I wanted to talk about my next subject. And this is a touchy one. It's the transgender bathroom using. It is the transgender ideology, gender ideology, and identity politics, which apparently the Democrats have not learned their lesson from their past election losses. And the reason why I say that is not only did they lose the red states, they also lost in blue states. While typically they didn't lose the elections in blue states, they lost a lot of support that they usually enjoy. Like, believe it or not, the next presidential election, quite possibly, New Jersey will be a battleground state, as will Virginia. President Trump made a huge impact in those states, and Trump made huge gains in California, New Mexico, all of these safe blue strongholds, and it's because of woke politics. Woke politics. That would be identity politics. Now, the first thing, before I get into any of this, hopefully to qualm the algorithms on YouTube, I am not exhibiting bigotry or hatred when I speak ill of transgender ideology. I'm a firm believer that transsexuals have been around for a long time. They have the same rights as everybody else. I do not wish anybody any ill will or hate or harm. Most transsexuals usually will keep their business to themselves and just live their lives, minding their own business like everybody else tries to do. Those are not the people this is aimed at. And that goes the same for the LGBT community as well. I do not hate gay people. I do not hate bisexuals. People are entitled in America. Live as you wish. Live and let live. No animosity at all. We have a big tent in the Republican Party. It's the Unity Party. And we welcome everybody from all persuasions, racial, ethical, and sexuality, and whatever else, lifestyles and beliefs, religious beliefs, whatever. So now we have a Congresswoman, Nancy Mace, from South Carolina, in the news today, which is good because she introduced a bill in Congress, and it is a transgender bathroom bill in the Capitol. Female congresswomen, the Republicans mainly, do not want trans people using women's spaces in the Capitol. This came about because of a transgender congresswoman who won her election, and I will afford her the respect of calling her a woman, even though she is a trans activist, kind of like Rachel Levine. I like to show people some respect, okay? Somebody identifies as a female, I will afford them a respect to use the pronouns associated with their appearance. But don't force me to use those pronouns. That's really the point I'm making. That should be up to each person. If you don't feel that way, that's fine. So, I guess what I'm getting at is Nancy Mace introduced that legislation banning women from the bathroom. Mike Johnson, the House Speaker, issued a statement that I agree with. He said that men cannot be women, women cannot be men, men are men, women are women, and restrooms are for men or for women. And he said, that being said, there has to be inclusivity and sensitivity towards people that are of that persuasion, which is what I just said. In other words, use the bathroom that you were assigned with at birth, and because men cannot become women, you cannot change sex, and there is only two sexes, and that's it. That is science. Transgender ideology science is not science. That is made up science. And the other thing I will add is that when you give a group special rights, by default, you're going to end up depriving the rights of another group. In this case, it's women's rights, who are being trampled on by Democrats, ironically. Now, you have a lot of weird views on this from the left, because you still have feminists on the left. But nowadays, they are in a way that they include trans people as women. So these leftist feminists are defending trans people, but they call themselves trans rights activists. These are the people causing the problems for everybody. They are harming the LGBT community. They are harming children. They are harming women. They are harming the workplace by making it toxic. They are harming the schools. Basically, everything they touch ends up getting hurt. And people are afraid to say anything because they use racism and bigotry and public shaming and cancel culture. Well, those days are coming to an end in America, and they're getting angry about it. So that's why I talked about the election loss, because this just sent a clear message to Democrats that they have a losing message. And what do I mean by that? Well, we had swing states, and we had important elections, and the Republicans spent millions of dollars across the country. For most people that were running for elections, that were anti-transgender ideology advertising, referencing children being mutilated and this gender ideology, cancel culture, woke politics, wokeism. And what happened? So we see some Christmas decor coming out. And what happened, ladies and gentlemen? The Republicans won and Democrats lost big percentage points, even in the blue states that they won. And I don't mean just Kamala. I'm talking about people running for office. Nationwide, the Republicans had a huge red wave. And it is fueled by woke politics. The Democrats are going to have to acknowledge that your first answer for somebody that doesn't agree with the trans policy is not to call them a bigot and a racist and a transphobe, because that's what caused them to lose. So they're trying to learn how to attack it differently, and they don't know how yet. So this is good, because Nancy Mace introduces this bill in Congress banning men from women's bathrooms. So what has this done? This has put the national spotlight. Now that the election is over and everybody's done with the Trump, Trumpity, Trump, come out of this, come out of that, now we can actually get on with the program of solving these problems that screwed this country up. And we are going to fix it, and mark my words, woke politics is now officially dead, okay? They have dirt being shoveled in their face, and they're going to have to acknowledge it. So, they're going to have to acknowledge that this woke gender ideology stuff is dead in America. It's gone. There's a new sheriff in town. The voters picked him. And overwhelmingly, this was a huge landslide, despite the left trying to belittle it. The simple fact is, there's 312 electoral college votes to 220 something. That's the biggest win by a Republican since Ronald Reagan. And that's just a fact. And the Ronald Reagan years shaped the country all the way up through Bill Clinton. Through up to 2004, the Iraq War, when George Bush screwed everything up and damaged the Republican Party again. So anyway, that's a whole nother discussion. So, woke politics is now going to deservedly come to an end in America. And they're going to go kicking and screaming, but they're going to go. That's the point. It's done. Orange insurrection Hitler didn't catch on. Trump is not Satan. And the people didn't believe it because it's not true. And the people want mass deportation. Not just deportations. They want mass deportation. That is the mandate that has been given by the people. Trump will fulfill it. And so is getting this gender ideology junk out of our schools. And like I said, I really don't care if you're a trans person, gay, bi, really could care less. Live your life, enjoy yourself. Just don't force that on other people. And the biggest problem I have with the transgender ideology is if anybody that claims they're trans, which most of them not even medically transitioned, they're just putting on a dress so they can go perving in dressing rooms and the restrooms, and they're doing great harm to trans people in the process. Because if somebody gets upset at that, they get told that they are a transphobe and they get fired from their job and whatever else. And that has to stop, and I hope a lot of lawsuits get filed. People that have lost their jobs to that. And you know, we're going to become America again. Room for everybody. Everybody has different ideas. We talk to each other and we meet in the middle. So that has to happen, and I believe that will. But like I said, they're going to go kicking and screaming. They don't want to give up their little leftist toys they use to torture people with. And so we'll just go on. We'll just go on. We're on the right track. They're losing. In fact, I'd say they lost. I don't see how the Democratic Party recovers from this even before the next election, because they have left a lot of scars. A lot of people are angry, and a lot of people, quite simply put, are not going to forgive them for what they did, which includes firing people who wouldn't get fully vaccinated from their jobs. And not just their jobs, they lost their entire careers. That was wrong, and I'm seeing a lot of Democrats admit that over the past 2 weeks since Trump won. But it's too little too late. These people will never change. So we'll just see what they do, okay? We'll leave it at that. So anyway, next topic of discussion. Next one is Laken Riley. All right, Laken Riley. We had the trial for the guy whose name I can't pronounce, from Venezuela. He was in the Tren de Agua Venezuelan criminal gang. He's been associated with them. He's the one that murdered Laken Riley. He actually stalked her ahead of time with the intent of hunting for a female and having his way with her. And Laken Riley, from the testimony I saw from the trial, put up a really good fight. And she was wearing a fitness watch, which kept a record of her heart rate and what was going on with her body. And she fought this guy to the point where he had to bash her in the head with a rock and kill her. I guess he hit her multiple times, bashed her skull in. And so anyway, he was found guilty today. He did not have a trial with a jury. He had just a justice. Overwhelming evidence, both DNA, video surveillance evidence, witness testimony, seeing Riley going by at a certain time. So anyway, he got sentenced to 2 concurring life sentences. One obviously for murder. The other one was for rape, which resulted in a death. And the other one was 20 years added on for, I don't know, stalking, or whatever the official charge would be. There was about 11 of them altogether. A lot of them were negated, wiped out by the justice because they blended in with the other crimes. And he was found guilty on those other ones. So they kind of like, it's called merging. They merged charges. So anyway, 2 consecutive life sentences without parole. And I know what you're going to say. Plus there was 20 years added on top of that. So I know what you're going to say. Georgia has capital punishment. Well, why didn't they do that? Well, here's the problem. The district attorney, okay, refused to have capital punishment involved in these charges. This is the prosecutor in Georgia. Consequently, because of that, there's no death penalty involved in this case. Clearly they should be. And the consequences of that, thankfully, in case you were wondering, is the district attorney that did that. Because he did that, he lost re-election, and he's no longer the district attorney. So a lesson to be learned that if you take money from George Soros and you go along with this ridiculous foolishness now, since we have a new America, people are not going to be afraid to speak out against woke anymore. And so this guy did not get reelected. But the charges had already been filed, and legally they can't go back and redo it. So this guy is going to be 3 square meals a day, a weight room, free showers for the rest of his life at taxpayer expense. But at least he's not out on the street. Personally, I think he should be deported. And then once he's across the border, something bad should happen to him. By somebody. That could happen. But if you deport him and send him out of the country, he'll be free to do it to other people. So there's really no way to win on that. And I think capital punishment was the right way to go. And it's too bad they had a corrupt district attorney, which is a big problem we have across the country. Hopefully people are going to wise up now and realize that the riots in 2020, with people being let out on bail without being detained, and ridiculous foolishness like that, hopefully is a thing of the past. There's a reason why President Trump showed 10 to 15 points better in Chicago than any Republican in the past, as well as New York and Los Angeles. There's a reason for that. It's because the people know who the problem is and what's causing it. And they voted for Trump because they want this crime cleaned up, and they want the immigrants deported that are causing violence and crime. Very simple for Democrats to say, you know what, maybe we should help and clean this up. But they're not going to do that. They're going to clutch their pearls, and they're going to hang on to their gender and identity politics, and they're going to defend the immigrants and go up against Trump. And they're trying to do everything they can to obstruct the federal government and ICE. But they don't understand that Trump is not screwing around this time. These cities are going to lose federal funding, millions and millions of dollars. That's what's going to happen. And ICE is going to be able to go in and round these people up anyway. They just won't have local law enforcement to help them. So this will actually be worse for immigrants, because then the local police could have said, you know, this guy's been here a long time, he's been good, he's been providing for his family. And what happens when ICE doesn't know that? They're going to round these people up and kick them out anyway. So this stuff that they're doing now is butt soreness. Their asses are sore because they just lost to Trump. They're angry, and liberal Democrats are vindictive people. I don't care who gets on me for that, they just are. And they're going to obstruct, they're going to resist, they're going to delay, they're going to sabotage. So they feel that's their best policy, even though that is what just cost them the election. It's not going to make people happy. An overwhelming majority of the public wants these people deported. So politically, it's pretty stupid for Democrats to take that stance. They want their sanctuary cities, which prohibit the rounding up and arrest of citizens that are illegals. But what they don't understand is that if the president declares an emergency, their bullshit is going to get superseded, okay? Whether they like it or not. And you're already seeing them testing Donald Trump, and he's not even sworn in yet, because the council members in Butler, Pennsylvania, not Butler, but Bucks County, have openly defied the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, and they willfully broke the law counting illegal ballots. And they opened it, they said it, they professed it, they openly said it. In other words, she was saying All ballots should be counted because she's a liberal white lunatic. All ballots should be counted. And the Republicans, what they're doing is wrong. And I'm not going to go along with it, was her attitude. Well, here's the thing. The Supreme Court said that ballots without signatures were illegal ballots. And if you willfully count illegal ballots, it is election fraud. There are several felony charges that these people are going to face. Make no mistake, President Trump is not going to let this slide. And these people are going to have a rude awakening. They will be prosecuted. And they believe they have done nothing wrong. And they think the whole world's going to turn on Donald Trump because they stood up to him. Well, talk about the dumbest thing you've seen this year. I would not want to be those people. They are going to be charged. And I believe it has been discussed already that they will be. So, fire up the popcorn machine, make some popcorn. We got a lot of stuff we're going to see go down. It's going to be glorious. And Matt Gaetz is going to be confirmed. I'm calling it. I'm just going to throw that out there. If I'm wrong, I'll come back and say it. And the reason why he's going to be confirmed is what I heard today from Republicans is that the report that was done on him, the ethics report by Congress, was incomplete. It has salacious allegations in it, and that's all it has. Matt Gaetz was investigated for 3 years by the Department of Justice, the crooked Department of Justice, run by Merrick Garland and Joe Biden, and they didn't have anything to charge him with. So, he was investigated for 3 years. There wasn't sufficient evidence to charge him with it, so that cannot be held against him to be Attorney General, because he didn't break the law. So, that's the reality of that. And so far, we've heard from everybody except Matt Gaetz. And he will get his chance during his confirmation hearing, which he will have. And a lot of these people in D.C. are going to end up looking foolish, I'm predicting. The real problem is they hate Matt Gaetz because he's made enemies in D.C. because he won't play by their rules. Same reason why they hate Trump. Matt Gaetz comes from a very wealthy family, and he's not afraid, just like Donald Trump isn't, to tell people that are full of crap that they're full of crap. My favorite Gaetz moment, personally, was when the assistant director of the FBI was testifying about Hunter's laptop. And they said they didn't know where Hunter's laptop was. They lost it. And Matt Gaetz goes, really? You're the second in charge in the FBI, and you don't know what happened to one of the most valuable pieces of evidence in a hotly contested election? And the assistant director goes, no, we don't know anything about that. So Matt Gaetz takes out a phone and says, I want to submit to the congressional record as evidence the entire contents of Hunter's laptop. The room went silent. Here's this congressman, through his own channels, found all of the information the FBI said they lost and was gone. They tried to get rid of Hunter's laptop and bury it. So that's why I like Gaetz. He's not afraid, and like I said, he comes from a wealthy family. Now, the reason why I mention that, and it's important, is he doesn't have to listen to lobbyists. He doesn't have to hear from, let's say, the cigarette lobby or the whatever lobby who promises them campaign donations if they support their cause. He doesn't have to fundraise. Somebody that's in Congress I told you about, it costs them about $1 million a year. They have to pay dues to the party. They have to fundraise all the time. Every other day, an event that they attend usually involves fundraising. So he's not held by that. Plus, he has the added benefit of coming from a conservative area in Florida. So You get the gist of that. He's another politician that can't be bought. And they don't like that because he has made enemies with all the people that are corrupt. He got Kevin McCarthy removed as Speaker. And now we have Mike Johnson, who appears on his face right now to be on board with MAGA. And he seems to be doing a good job. He came out today and said that men don't belong in women's bathrooms, but we must show them respect. But we're going to adhere to biological science and medical science standards, and it's not going to happen in the Capitol while he is Speaker. So this is all good. So this stuff is very exciting. It's very interesting. And we are watching history right now. And we're going to watch all of this unfold. And it should be nice. It should be good. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. So I'm calling it. Matt Gaetz will be the Attorney General. And I think Trump is going to burn a little bit of political capital to make that happen. And there are other picks that Trump has made that will definitely be confirmed. You know, a lot of Democrats have a bug up their ass about Tulsi Gabbard, saying she's a Russian asset. She's going to be grilled about that. Her involvement with Syria and the Russians in Syria. So all of that will be discussed. Pete Hegseth, 2 Bronze Stars, doesn't really have any experience running something administrative. That is a legitimate concern, and you know, we'll see what he has to say. But you know, they went after him for more sex allegations. Seems to be a favorite thing with Democrats. And basically, here's the story. Pete Hegseth meets this girl in a bar, from what I understand. Goes back to his hotel room, and she's in the same hotel. She sleeps with him, and because he was on Fox, apparently, she was being a groupie. Okay. So, obviously, she got confronted by her husband, which Hegseth didn't know she was married. And then she made up a story about being drugged and raped by Hegseth to cover her own sleazebagginess. And so the police were called. She did get tested with a rape kit, and she claimed to have been given a date rape drug. There was nothing found. And police investigated it, and they decided not to press any charges because there wasn't any evidence. And that was in 2017. So probably not the wisest thing Hegseth could have done with his life, but hey, you know, good looking woman, he's in great shape. You know, it's good to be the king. Picks up a woman in a bar, not illegal. And has fun, also not illegal. There was no exchange of money or anything like that. It wasn't that kind of thing. There was nothing to do with any drugs. Everything was up and up. And nobody said anything about it until now, when he gets picked by Trump. So that's not going to affect anything. He'll get nominated too. You have to remember what they did with Kavanaugh, okay? Remember that? That's the experience Trump has. People begged him. They begged him to withdraw Kavanaugh and put somebody else. And Trump said, no, 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 no. We're not going to do that. We're not going to cave in to these people. So the Democrats went and had their circus. And like I've stated in the past, that blew up in the Democrats' face because the public didn't like that. And I think they're going to do it again, though, with Gaetz. Because one, if they get Gates' nomination canceled, it's a victory against Trump. Okay? That's really, I think, what's driving this is Trump, or being anti-Trump. So
there was no like.
So I think that's what's driving that. And this is all about Trump. And Trump knows that. So he's not going to withdraw Matt Gaetz. He's going to have his hearing. And I pity the Republicans that don't vote for him. So the people just gave a mandate. They want Trump to fix these problems in DC, and Trump wants Matt Gaetz because Matt Gaetz will be effective in cleaning up the corruption in the Department of Justice. These political persecutions are going to stop with Matt Gaetz. And after what they did to Trump, he wants Matt Gaetz. Now the media is trying to belittle his legal experience, but he does have legal experience. So, anyway, I'm going to show you some Christmas decorations that are up. Look at this. We got a snowman over here. Wow, look at this. Wow, that's pretty cool, huh? So I'm predicting that Matt Gaetz will be confirmed as Attorney General without having to do a recess appointment. I do know that President Trump has been calling several senators and speaking with them and congressmen for other reasons. And there's a lot of things that Trump knows goes on behind the scenes now that he didn't know before. So maybe he'll make a couple of them promises. Maybe he'll tell a couple of them bills that they want to propose. He said he'll sign them, even if it's one that might not be popular with all of the public, as a show of unity or partisanship. There are a lot of people on Capitol Hill who do not like Gaetz, regardless. But, on the other hand, Trump just won a big landslide victory. It wasn't a squeaker, and he won the popular vote by a lot. So, that is really important. So, I got a good sweat going right now. It's not cold, it's not warm. It's about 45 degrees, but we're getting rain tomorrow. So the air is getting moist. It's not dry. So as soon as you get a little bit of humidity in the air, it feels warmer than it is. You'd have to be in New England to know what I mean. Possibly. So I hope you're enjoying the walk. kind of nice tonight, actually. I think so anyways. We've hit 3.5 miles. Three and a half big miles. So, pretty amazing time to be alive. It's still sinking in that Trump is president. I've been watching videos on YouTube of Trump landing in Air Force One and deboarding, deplaning. Watching Trump land in Marine One at the White House. And it's really starting to sink in how great this is going to be. I also wanted to give you an update on Vladimir Putin and Ukraine. From everything I've seen, it looks to me like Putin would like to have some peace. I think he's really looking for a way out of this war in Ukraine, but he's not going to admit it. And the reason why I say that is somewhere between 700,000 and 800,000 Russians have been killed since this started. Billions of dollars worth of equipment has been destroyed. And a lot of the equipment that we supplied Ukraine with has been destroyed. That cost us billions of dollars. And it is financially harming every country involved at this point. The West, I believed, fully expected this to be over with by now, 2 years ago. That they thought Putin would just quit. And he didn't. And he's not going to. He's not going to quit. So they need to come up with something that benefits both sides enough to call it a day. And the biggest problem is going to be a lot of people in NATO. They're going to have specific things they want. And Trump's not going to agree to it. And neither is Putin. And it's going to be things like they're going to want Russia to pay money back for damages. You know, and plus, you're going to have reconstruction in Ukraine. Who's going to pay for that? You know, once the bombs stop falling and all the bodies have been buried, you got whole cities that are going to have to be rebuilt top to bottom. Trillions of dollars. What guarantees are we going to get? So I think Trump is going to be in a unique position to say that we will invest in rebuilding Ukraine, but this is what you're going to have to do, kind of thing. And NATO is not going to like it. And I sincerely hope, I would not be upset if we pulled out of NATO and left NATO, to be honest with you. Now, a lot of people say that would be crazy because of Article 5, where if the United States is attacked automatically France, Britain, and whoever else would be our allies and join in the battle. Personally, I think they would do that anyway. So the whole premise behind NATO had to do with Hitler invading Europe and poor England, Ireland, and Scotland, and whatever else were left to fend for themselves, because we had a weak president here who didn't want to get involved. He ran an election on peace and not getting involved in other people's wars. Congress had actually passed legislation preventing arming other countries, even if they were allies. And this was all a result of World War I. So we had instances where Churchill in England was actually helped through Canada, who was an ally of theirs, where the United States military, through the order from the president, ordered a whole bunch of military hardware to be stationed just outside the Canadian border. And they circumvented Congress by leaving these military tanks and everything else there, and basically telling Churchill, boy, wouldn't that be a shame if somebody crossed the border from Canada and just stole all of this military hardware? That would be so terrible. You know, it would be really terrible, Mr. Winston Churchill, if somebody stole this stuff on your behalf. But, you know, I'm not supposed to tell you it's there, but I'm just letting you know, because we know you wouldn't do anything like that. Wink, wink. So, of course, the hardware was stolen. And we had to circumvent Congress's stupidity. And we may very well have to do that again. So anyway, I guess what I'm getting at is NATO was specifically designed to have guaranteed allies to keep people like the Russian in line, or dictators around the world, from being aggressive and invading other countries, specifically China. China is dangerous. We are going to be at war with China. I've been saying it for 10 years now. It's just a matter of time. That is their whole strategy. Everything they're doing right now is geared towards world domination, which is the communist ideology. So this is not far-fetched. Why do you think China wants Taiwan? Taiwan makes all the chips that China needs, computer chips. So they want the technical aspects in Taiwan and the resources there. Huge factories. And while they're doing that, they might as well just take Japan too, and Australia. Australia has enough iron ore to fund a war machine for China for decades to come. And we don't make jack shit here. So hopefully that changes. Japan's steel industry is something China would go after. And then you would have South Korea, probably invaded by North Korea in tandem with China, kind of like we saw in the 50s in the Korean conflict. And I can just see it happening. China's rebuilt its military. It has specifically tasked the military with one specific purpose: to defeat the United States military. So they have revamped their entire military for that purpose. And that's just a fact. It's not hyperbole, I'm not making it up. That's what they've done. So, we need to be honest about it. We need to talk about this stuff and understand that we are not safe from reality. That's the reality of it, folks. China has partnered with Russia Russia has partnered with Iran. Iran has partnered with the Middle East, Turkey, places like that. And this is going to be a big deal. Now, while all of this is happening, it would not surprise me if the Middle East blew up at the same time with conflict there. And so don't underestimate the Muslim horde, we'll call it. There's a lot of Muslims in the Middle East, millions and millions of them. If they partner up with China and we have to go to war with these people, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. America is not in a good spot right now, financially and resource-wise. We're too reliant on China, and it would be a nightmare. It would be a logistical nightmare, a statistical nightmare. So we need to have people like Trump as president for that alone, really, because he's already changing the surface of virtually everything that's going on right now. So I'm also predicting it's not going to be long before women are banned, men are banned from women's sports in America, and probably bathrooms too. And of course, Congress passes that, there's going to be tons of lawsuits, and we're just going to have to sift through it. But basically, usually what happens is Congress is lawmakers. Constitution is the law of the land, and no law will exist. It will be null and void if it is deemed unconstitutional, even if passed by Congress. So that is going to be another reason why we have a conservative Supreme Court with their heads on straight. A lot of people were talking about Sotomayor stepping down so they could have a younger person appointed by Biden before he leaves office. But apparently that's not going to happen, so that's good. The reason why that's good, the reason why that is good is because if something happens to Sotomayor, then Trump will have somebody to appoint. Ruth Bader Ginsburg did the same thing. She didn't want to step down. She didn't think Trump was going to win. And she died while Trump was in office. So now they have a Supreme Court that is heavily conservative at the right time in history. God works in mysterious ways, that's all I'm saying. So a lot of these people that support these woke politics and stuff, they ended up being the most responsible for ending it because they don't know when to quit. So say somebody's looking for a lost pet. It must be small because he's looking around with a flashlight in the grass. So probably a ferret or something, or a hamster. Well, to be honest with you, winter's coming, and if they don't find the furry little bastard, he's dead. Unless he finds a way to survive. So anyway, hope you're enjoying my walk. I know I always say that, but I like to come up with stuff to fill the void when nobody's talking. I probably like to talk too much. It's probably my problem. So, I forgot to buy a bag of beans. I love Great Northern white beans, Great Northern beans. And I forgot to buy some. I gotta get some. delicious and nutritious. So they got a couple new decorations up for Christmas decor. Let's take a peek. Looks like Frosty the Snowman's having a difficult time. Looks like he's hanging on for his life here. See that? Frosty the Snowman's fallen off the roof. I think he's been on a bender. People are getting festive. Oh, all kinds of scaffolding outside the church. What are they doing? I wonder if they're doing repairs or if they're cleaning. Sandblasting, maybe? Don't know. I'm not seeing anything that tells me what they're doing. So, don't know what they're doing. Well, I guess I'll pay attention and I'll see if anything changes and I'll know what they're doing. Coming up on 5 miles now, according to my information here, if you see that. 4.86 miles, hour and 26 minutes, which is a good time. Now yesterday's walk, we did a woods walk, and that did not go quickly. I had stopped, I did some sightseeing, I took pictures, and we sat on a bench and talked for a while. And that ended up being over 2 hours to do less than 5 miles. Which actually I ended up walking 5.45 miles. I did about 4 miles inside the woods walk, and the rest was after it. But anyway, it came out to over 2 hours. I had 1 mile, it took 48 minutes. Now, if you're familiar with me on my walks take 15 to 16 minutes as a good time, and a bad time, well, not a bad time, but a normal average would be 17 to 18 minutes per mile. So when I'm taking 48 minutes, that's twice as long or more. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm enjoying this walk tonight. Happy to talk to you all. I really do enjoy this, and you know, hey, we're coming up on Thanksgiving and I'm still walking. It's not too cold, which is unusual. So I don't know how long that's going to continue, but I will walk when it is good enough to walk. So now I'm going to head on back to the ranch up yonder, quite a ways up yonder. I only record to a certain point because I like to protect the location of the bat cave. So we're at 5 miles right now. So I've gotten in my walking quota. That's the least amount I wanted to do. So that's where I set my walks at. As long as I get 5 miles, I call it good. Per day, it adds up. So I do about 30 to 40 miles a week, depending how many 6-milers I do, etc. Most of the time, though, I'm right around 5.4 miles, 5.6. So over 7 days, if I walk every day, that adds up. I do make sure I take at least 1 day off a week, it seems like lately. So that's okay. It's only 1 day. Won't hurt me. So I'm going to flip the camera around up ahead here after I cross. And you know, it really means a lot that you guys watch these, and people have been watching them, and I'm really sorry that, you know, I had that freaking nutbag watching my walks. I mean, that guy legitimately had a screw loose, and so you always got to be careful of people. And yeah, they could make another username. They probably have one, and they can watch this anyway. So I'm not going to say anything to provoke anybody. But basically, this is my channel with my thoughts, and I'm not really on here to be insulted by people. I don't put up with that by anybody. So I don't know why YouTube would be different. And if you like my walks, then say so. If you don't watch my walks. I'd rather not hear from you, to be honest with you. So got a little ways to go up ahead, and we're passing this Mexican restaurant. Oh, does that smell good? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, that's good. So the Babylon Bee is pretty funny. If you're not familiar with the parody people, babylonbee.com. Bee as in bumblebee. It was really funny. They had a Mexican restaurant and the parking lot's full. It's full inside too. Looks like they're doing good business. You can always tell if the food's good if the parking lot has people in it. Probably affordable too. So anyway, Babylon Bee had a funny article that they made. They always make parody fake news articles that are almost believable, but this one was funny. It was Trump unveils plan to round up illegals by setting up a box trap with tacos underneath it. I couldn't stop laughing. That's so funny. There's this box propped up with a stick, like when you used to try to catch pigeons when you were a kid. And when the pigeon would go underneath it to get the popcorn, you'd pull the stick and the box would fall down. So that was Trump's plan to catch illegals. I thought that was funny. By putting tacos underneath the box. And you go to get the tacos, you pull the stick and trap the immigrants. Pretty funny. So price of gas is still going up. It's $3.20 now in Maine. If you're a Smart Pay member, it's $3.08. And if you're not, it's $3.18. It's probably about $2.80 at Walmart a gallon. So anyway, I want to thank you very much for walking with me. Click like and subscribe. Share the content. And know that I love all you guys. It really means a lot that you watch these videos. I'm going to try not to get hit by this car. And we'll see you on the next walk, friends. Stay frosty, stay safe, and stay vigilant. Never give in to these leftist sons of bitches, ever. Talk to you soon, friends. God bless and MAGA to everybody.